What's up, guys? This is Kephas. So, before I started today's recording session, welcome back, by the way. More WoW leveling, still in Stranglethorn Vale, making our way through. It's a great zone, by the way. I always forget how much I love leveling in this zone. I can't remember everything that happens story-wise, but maybe one day we'll re-explore that when we do more lore episodes. Been starting on some of those again, by the way. I've been working through those. But anyways, on to what I wanted to talk about. So, this might be a mistake too, but we'll get into it. So, before I started recording today, I was kind of falling down a little bit of a rabbit hole because some drama happened over the weekend in the Warcraft realm, I suppose. And so this kind of dates when I started recording this, because it's like Monday and this all happened over the weekend. I didn't even know about it until right before recording this. So I looked into it a little bit, and I don't know. I don't usually like drama. I actually hate when drama happens, but yet I guess it's human instincts. Whenever it does happen, you just have to know about it. So, but anyhow, there was some dust being tossed up between two internet personalities in the WoW community, and that would be Asmongold and Taliesin and Evertel, but mostly just Taliesin. Evertel really didn't seem to be part of any of this at all, at least not in terms of the conflict. But yeah, I might be making a mistake talking about it, but it's just, it's on my mind, it's a topic, and I figured I would, give my thoughts. So I don't really have a strong opinion on either one of the two content creators. I respect them both. I do enjoy watching a lot of WoW content aside from my own, of course, and I like watching a lot of YouTube. I don't watch a lot of Twitch. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the live Twitch environment as much as I am recorded videos and just people not being distracted and just playing and having fun or making guides or talking or whatever. But so, Asmongold is a Twitch streamer. He's a pretty large Twitch streamer. He's also made a lot of YouTube videos. I found him on YouTube a while ago before he started doing Twitch, and I like him for the most part. I think he's a cool guy. I think he plays a character. He's the ultimate quintessential neckbeard WoW player. That's kind of the character that he plays. It's probably just him dialed up to 11, which is how you do things when you're doing this kind of stuff, and that's what he does. It's his thing. He has opinions about the game. A lot of times I agree with his opinions about the game, and it doesn't really influence my opinions, but it's just, I do watch his videos and hear what he has to say sometimes, or watch his streams, and he'll talk about stuff like that. So, but I don't really watch a lot of streaming, and sometimes, it's not so much that he takes things too far. I don't think a lot of people accuse Asmongold of being toxic because he's abrasive, because he plays the type of character that he probably is a little bit. He's not PC, I guess, and I don't want to get into that kind of talk. But he's not PC. I'm not PC. I prefer people that aren't PC because I like people to be able to say whatever they think, and if that offends people, get over it, get some thick skin, and it's fine. If you want to call me a blind sorry for the swearing, then go for it. It doesn't matter. Does it offend me? Sure. But say what you want to say, and I'll call you a prick or something back. I don't know. But, it doesn't bother me. It's just, I don't think that speech should be stopped because people want to talk how they want to talk. That's my opinion. I do apologize for swearing. But so Asmongold is that type of person. He's the type of person that will call you an idiot if he thinks you're an idiot. If he thinks, he'll make fun of people's transmogs and be honest, like, your transmog sucks or your DPS sucks. I don't necessarily think that that's entirely a bad thing. I think that, if you're being serious, maybe it's better to be more kind about it, and especially when you're trying to criticize people, try to be constructive. Don't just tear people down. But at the same time, when someone is that way, you know what you're getting into, and that's what it is. I think back to like Deeves from the old WoW videos. It's really hilarious listening to Deeves go insane on a player for screwing up, and as far as we know, that was legit. Maybe it wasn't, but it was a recording of a Ventrio or TeamSpeak or something, and the guy was going nuts on another raid team member for sucking. And yeah, I would never play with that guy. I think he's a jerk, right? He's a horrible person. But should he be banned? No. Should he be silenced? No. Don't play with him. Avoid him. Don't raid with that guy. Raid with someone who's nicer. That's how I view that kind of stuff. So that's what I think of Asmongold. If you don't like what he has to say, if you don't like the way he is, don't watch. Apparently, a lot of people don't seem to mind, so that's fine. That's how I take it. But then on the other spectrum, you have Taliesin, who is a lot nicer in his videos. Not sure about in real life now, but they make really good content. Him and his wife Evertel. They're really sweet on their videos. They talk about WoW. They seem to really love the game. They create an environment that is a lot more kind-hearted, peaceful, and that kind of thing. And when I first discovered them in the middle of Legion, I really enjoyed watching their videos. I would watch them every week, and I would look forward to more of their videos coming out. I remember showing my wife, like, oh man, these guys really have something cool and new that they bring to the YouTube and the WoW community, and I really enjoy what they're doing. And I really liked watching their videos. Unfortunately, over time, it felt like Taliesin in particular, because he loves the game, and he will sometimes criticize the game when he feels like it should be criticized, but he does it in a very like finger waggy, kind of way, like not very, like very milquetoast about criticizing the game. Like he'll say things, but it's in a way that's like, I'm not gonna just be like, hey, this needs to change. It's more like, maybe they shouldn't do this. I don't know how to explain it, but it comes off very, like, I think that if you're going to criticize something, you should be constructive, but you should also be blunt and honest about it. Like, look, this is going to hurt the game. You guys are making a mistake, by putting this in the game, or store mounts are BS, and we all know that they're BS, and we know that it's not fair to put a store mount in the game, when you're charging people for a subscription and they also have to pay for the game. I think it's BS to have all three of those sources of income. A lot of people may disagree. He'll say, yeah, it's wrong that they do this, but you can technically buy it with gold, so I guess it's not as bad. So like, and I guess it's like trying to not be too harsh and try to see all sides. Sometimes that's fine. I'm like that. I don't like to be extreme on either end. That's how I feel about classic versus retail. I like both, so naturally I feel a little bit of a center of the road kind of thing there. But if I don't like something, like I don't like store mounts, and there's nothing in the world that justifies putting your best mounts in the store. I think that's greedy. I think it's bullcrap. It's not going to keep me from playing the game. Maybe that's a problem, but I think it's stupid, and I won't buy them with my money. I might buy them with gold, but I'm not going to buy them with money. And again, maybe buying them with gold is a mistake, maybe. But it's a game. I don't feel strongly about it either way, because it's a game at the end of the day. And, that's something to always remember. Imagine being so triggered by someone's opinion of a video game, like, I think it's fine either way. So I don't really mind hearing what Taliesin and Evertel have to say. I don't watch their videos as much as I used to, because it seems like a lot of times they get a little bit more, I don't know if attacky is the word, but Taliesin sometimes comes across like he feels like he has to be Blizzard's lawyer and defend everything they do against people that criticize. When I first watched, they would pull comments, crazy comments from the forums, because we know people are crazy on the forums. He would pull comments from that and like kind of make lighthearted jokes about how crazy people can be about the game, and crazy things that people say, like, oh my god, this game is garbage now, like just all the crazy stuff. But I would start to notice that he would pull comments not from the forums but from other YouTubers, and I didn't like that. I thought that was getting a little bit more confrontational, in a very kind of cowardly way, because like, well, we're not going to mention their names, but we're going to talk about them, like no one knows who they're talking about. Like, they would do stuff like that, and I wasn't a fan, and it just started to come across like a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more, we're going to defend Blizzard, we're going to be Blizzard. I don't want to say the S word, but that's what people would call them. If you defend Blizzard, you're a shill. And there are some people that are I would say, shills. Just because you defend them on something or you think that one thing is okay, I don't think that makes you a shill. If you like retail, you're not a shill. But when you start at every turn defending them while being milquetoast about your criticisms of them, I think it does kind of paint you in a certain light, and I think that's the case. But I didn't really, I wouldn't talk bad about them. It's just I kind of just would shy away from that. Likewise, when I watch someone like Heels versus Babyface, who sometimes I agree with, but when I feel like every video is very negative all the time, I back off because I don't want to hear that all the time, So I'm not saying anything bad about him or Taliesin, but I feel like when people are very strong one way or the other all the time, it just kind of gets hard to continue to watch, because I feel like realistically people would be somewhere in the middle. Like, yeah, Blizzard, I love World of Warcraft. It's fun. I like it more now for what it is, or I don't like it as much as I used to, but I still like it enough, and that's why I keep playing it. And if I didn't like it, I would quit playing it. But if you're like, this is the greatest game ever, they never do anything wrong, it's way better than it's ever been, people are full of crap, and you're wrong if you disagree, like that kind of stuff is what irritates me. So, like, so I tend to back away whenever people are too ridiculous on either end, and that's kind of like my take on that. But anywho, getting off topic, I guess. There was some beef between Taliesin and Asmongold, because Asmongold, one of the things he does on the stream is he'll watch other content creators' videos on his stream and react to them. And, people might view that in different ways. To me, I see it as free publicity for the most part, and it's just an interesting thing to do. I mean, it's nothing new. There are people that do that kind of stuff on YouTube, react channels. That's a thing. I mean, we know all about the Fine Bros controversy where they were trying to get a trademark on the react videos. I mean, that's something that was crazy. So it's nothing new. It's whatever, people might not like it, but it's what he does, and people like watching and hearing his opinion on things, and that's fine. So, he reacts to all kinds of different videos, and he's reacted to Taliesin and Evertell's videos before. And Asmongold is kind of the embodiment of the player that prefers the old school style of WoW, the more classic-oriented style. He's a big part of pushing for classic to come. He's played his part in making it happen. And, that's his way of thinking, and that's probably why he has a lot of followers, because a lot of them probably agree with what he thinks. And then Taliesin is more of the embodiment of the person who likes WoW as it is now, who's just a big WoW fan and is pretty much always positive. And again, neither one of those things are necessarily wrong. People have their opinions either way. And which is kind of funny. I guess it's like why I think about talking about this, because like a couple episodes ago, I was talking about the dual worlds of Warcraft, where you have a large percentage of the player base that wants a classic server and wants a game that's more like old school WoW, and then you also have a large percentage of the player base who likes the way WoW is now, and those two sides tend to clash a lot, unfortunately. And so Asmongold is the embodiment of one side, and Taliesin is the embodiment of the other side. And so when Asmongold watches Taliesin's videos, a lot of times he'll disagree with what Taliesin has to say, and that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Unfortunately, when Asmongold does this, Taliesin gets a big influx of other people's opinions of what he says, and so he'll get a lot of negative comments in his DMs, and they'll just get a lot of traffic. A lot of times it's negativity, and of course, you'll get from that negativity, or maybe even some positivity, but from that group of people, that influx, you will get those people that just tend to take things a little bit too far and start threatening you or wishing death upon you and say really horrible things. I think that all of us who have been on the internet have dealt with that. I know I have. When I made my Sims 4 video, and it was featured on one of Angry Joe's videos, and it brought a large people into my channel. I got a lot of positivity, and I got a fair share of negativity, because there are a lot of Sims 4 fanboys, and imagine being so triggered about how someone feels about a video game. But I got threats, and I got people wishing death upon me, people wishing I got cancer, all kinds of stuff like that. And then if you're a female, you'll get other kinds of threats that is inappropriate, and that stuff is never okay. But That's the kind of stuff that just happens. And it's always going to happen, and it's never going to be stopped, and that's just the way it is. And the only way to stop it is to remove speech and interactions between humans entirely. The anonymity of the internet is what gives people power to say horrible things. And so my solution to this is not to censor everyone on the internet, but to teach people and tell people, if you're going to be an internet personality, you need to have thick skin. Because you're going to get threats, you're going to get criticisms, you're going to get all kinds of stuff that is inappropriate, and that's just kind of the way it is. And I know there might be people that disagree with that mentality, but it's what it is. You can't help that there are people out there that might mug you and want to steal your stuff, so don't go in any dark alleys. There are just certain rules you have to have. I have locks on my doors because there are horrible people in this world. I own guns because there are horrible people in this world, and that's the way it is. And that's the same online. So if you get attention, you're going to get some negative attention. When I used to post my rotation guides and macros on Reddit to get noticed, it worked, and I got a lot of positive attention, and I also got some negative attention as well. So, that's part of the internet. Now, I'm not defending, people being mean and saying nasty things like threatening you or whatever, but I will say that most likely the vast majority of the criticism that they got was just, your videos suck and your opinion sucks and F you, that kind of stuff. And probably in that there were a handful of people that were saying, oh, hope you die, go kill yourself, or whatever. So unfortunately, the way that translates a lot of times is, all of these comments were harassment and threats, right? Even though probably only a handful of them were, but we'll lump all the negativity in together because the negativity tends to stand out more. So it's frustrating, understandably. But Taliesin's logic is, this is Asmongold's fault, in a lot of ways. He has responsibility because by watching my videos, he puts a target on me, and his viewers come and attack me, right? That's his logic. And so, and he's even said, because Asmongold watched Hazelnutty's video before, and people were being mean to her, and he was being positive towards her. Hazelnutty's awesome. Her videos are great. Love her channel. She's awesome to watch, and she seems like a really sweet person. And, people were being, kind of mean and nasty to her and saying things about her appearance and stuff like that, which, that's what people do. And so Taliesin would say, well, he shouldn't watch the videos at all, whether he's being positive or negative, it doesn't matter, because he draws negative attention. And I think he seems to believe that because of the way Asmongold is as a player, because he's not milquetoast and because he's abrasive, that he draws those types of people, and that's simply not true. Every fan base, no matter what type of person you are, has those people in your fan base. Taliesin's got those people in his fan base because they go and attack other people as well. That happens, and that's kind of what this whole situation showed, is that both groups have nasty people in them that do that kind of stuff, that make threats, that are more aggressive and a little bit too much, and that's something that all groups of people have. It's just that Asmongold has a lot more. But at the same time, I don't think the amount matters once you get to a certain point. If you have 200,000 followers, right, and say 10,000 of them go and attack someone who has 1 million followers, well, it's still 10,000 versus 1, right? It's not like you having 1 million followers makes it less of an assault against you. And I think that once you start getting so many notifications, and I know this personally, you just stop paying attention. You just don't read them anymore. If I got 10,000 DMs, I just would be like, oh, cool, I'm not going to read all these. That's too much for anyone to go through. So I highly doubt that, when someone says, I got thousands of attacks, I'm like, you mean to tell me that you sat down and you read through all of those? You don't have a life? I wouldn't have the time to do that. No offense, but at some point when you get big enough, it's just a bunch of notifications at that point. Who's going to go through that? You might see a handful, but that's the thing, is you're not going to read all of them, and you're going to assume that every notification that you're getting is a negative, threatening notification, and that's not necessarily always going to be the case. But, I don't want to say that it didn't happen. I'm not saying that they don't get harassed, but I think it's a dangerous precedent to say that it's the fault of the content creator for what his people do. I tend to think that it's the fault of the people that do it. Unless the content creator actually incites violence, then maybe it's different. Like, hey, maybe we shouldn't incite violence. I mean, we definitely shouldn't. That's wrong. That's cruel. That's dangerous. You could get someone hurt. I mean, when, I hate to go here, but when a journalist calls for violence against a certain political group, and then that violence is starting to be carried out, I think that the journalist has a responsibility for putting that out there and encouraging people to do that kind of thing. That's different. But when you're just giving your opinion on someone else's opinion, and then people that listen to you talk go and insult that person or threaten that person, that's on the people that listen to you. And so I guess I think that, like, I think Taliesin would agree with that, it seems, but his logic is it doesn't matter, but because by giving people attention, you bring that crowd to those people. And I think that if you put yourself out there on the internet, it's just something that you're going to have to deal with. You're going to be criticized, you're going to be praised, and you're going to get people that come at you and say things. No matter how you get the attention, whether your video goes viral, whether your video gets shared on Reddit and gets a lot of attention, or whether another content creator picks up your video and talks about whatever your video is, you're going to get an influx. And to say that that's the fault of the content creator because it happens to be negative attention, I think that's ridiculous. When Angry Joe shared, featured my video, it was all positive, and I got some negative attention because of it. A lot of negative attention, more than I've ever gotten. But I've also got a lot of positive attention as well. So I think that that's just a byproduct of being on the internet and saying that, I think that if you look at what he says, saying that you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't react, you shouldn't even talk about another content creator, whether you're being positive or negative. Well, in that mindset, that means that one content creator should never acknowledge another content creator ever, because it could bring negativity, and I think that's out there, in my opinion. And so it's just crazy that that's something that someone would suggest and actually think is reasonable. I certainly wouldn't want, I'm a small tiny little fish here, right? So no one here, I don't think it's going to be a big group of people going and insulting you, but I would say, obviously, don't go and attack anybody because you heard something that I said. That's ridiculous. I would never think that would be okay. I think that most people would not think that is something that is okay. But, I don't think you should have to explain that to people, but apparently sometimes you do have to explain that to people. So, in the end, I think that it's a shame that there is a fight between two people, and I always will side on the side of not censoring people and not trying to silence people and not trying to restrict people's non-aggressive, non-harmful, types of content. Obviously, with the exception of actually calling for violence, do what you want to do, and if you don't like that someone is sharing your content, well, you can claim copyright or you can go ask the person to stop. And then that should be the end of it. So, but I also think that if you put your stuff out there, then people have the right to react to it how they want to. If you don't like my macro videos and you call me a scrub, you have the right to do that. If you do that on my channel, I might silence you because it's my channel. But if you do that on Twitter, I'm not going to go to Twitter and say, hey, will you silence them because they're hurting my feelings and I don't like what they have to say and it's negative attention, that kind of stuff. I don't know. Go knock yourself out. If there's a forum thread, there have been forum threads about my videos and people have said that kind of stuff, and I just brush it off and move on with my life. So anyhow, that's my thoughts on the whole situation. I know there's probably a lot more to it, but on the surface, it just seems like, I don't know, it seems like there's a side that just doesn't like when people disagree with them, and they don't like getting any negative attention, and they don't understand how things seem to work online. I don't know, but I sympathize with them for getting any negative or threatening, comments or whatever, but I also would say that happens to everyone. And welcome to the internet, and I know that some people might not like that answer, but we've all been there. So, yeah, I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but that's what my thoughts are on the topic, and, I'm sorry if that upsets anybody. I'm not trying to be, offensive, but at the same time, when you have an opinion, people tend to be offended. But that's where I stand on the whole thing. That's what I think about it, and I hope that they can resolve it peacefully and people can move on and continue to create awesome content on YouTube. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.